Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is only a matter of days away, and some fans have got their hands on the game already at preview events. The menus have been revealed and show many key items that are going to be in the game, alongside the Tri-Rod, and that means we're going to have items to find in this game. Well, today, I want to have a look at some of the classic items from Zelda games past, and also look ahead to what Nintendo could include in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Well, if you enjoyed this video or find it useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for even more Zelda content, and you can also hit that notification bell to never miss an update. Also, I am aware that there is a leaked version of this game out there on the internet. I would recommend not having a look at the leaks, and I haven't had a look at any of the leaks for any of the content on this channel, and I'm not going to be. I'm going to be waiting until September the 26th to play the game, and I would appreciate if no one discusses the leaks down there in the comments. Okay, with that out of the way, let's dive into the topic of today's video. Well, we've had a couple of trailers so far, with the focus being on Zelda's Tri-Rod, and that allows Zelda to create echoes of objects in the world, including enemies and loads of other things too. Now, we've had confirmation of the return of dungeons, plus we've seen inventory screens for those who played the game at PAX recently in North America. I do want to thank my fellow Zelda content creator Captain Bergerson for the footage. Thank you, Daniel, really appreciate that. Well, this raises the tantalizing prospect of other items being included in the game too, and that means some classic items could return from previous Zelda games, and I've compiled a list of some of my favourites that I would like to see added. Well, Nintendo are also very likely to include new items too. Also, I put out a comment on the community tab here on the YouTube channel, and I got your ideas, and I'll get into those in a little bit. Thank you to everybody who contributed, and also we're going to have a look at some of the new items that Nintendo could design and add into the game too. But let's kick off with some of the classic items that could return in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Well, first up we've got the hammer. So we saw a magic hammer in A Link to the Past, and that was used for flipping over enemies, or you could hit hard outer shells with it, like you could with that boss in the dungeon there. It's also used to knock down fence posts as well that block Link's path, and Link also finds a hammer in Ocarina of Time found in the Fire Temple. So that one could be a replacement for the Master Sword or the Big Goron Sword, and you can also flip over the torch slugs as well, leaving them completely harmless. And you can also press down on rusty switches and also destroy red boulders, so it is quite versatile. And it also is key in defeating the boss in that dungeon as well. So both instances of the hammer allow Link to flip over enemies and also get to new places by hitting things in the ground that are blocking his path. So a hammer could certainly come in handy for Zelda as she's trying to get around Hyrule, or when she's navigating the still world. Well, next up we've got the Ocarina, or maybe even the Flute. So the Ocarina, well, that was central to Link's adventure in Ocarina of Time, of course, allowing him to travel through time. You know, in A Link to the Past, Link had a flute, and that allowed him to fast travel all around the map. Link also had an ocarina in Link's Awakening. So he had the Ballad of the Windfish, that was key to opening up the Windfish's egg at the end of the game. He had Manbo's Mambo, and that allowed Link to warp to Mambo's Pond. And you can also warp Link to the start of a dungeon as well, so very useful indeed. And the Song of Soul allowed Link to get the Flying Rooster. You know, I would love to see a musical instrument added back into Echoes of Wisdom. In the past, these musical instruments have been helpful with travelling, and given the map in Echoes of Wisdom looks very big, you know, it makes sense for Zelda to have some kind of fast travel mechanic. We have seen these statues that Zelda can interact with that look like fast travel points, so maybe that is off the table, but I really like the Ocarina in Link's Awakening, where Link learns multiple songs that have different uses, so rather than travel, I would love to see an instrument that affects enemies. You know, perhaps you could even put them to sleep when Zelda plays a specific song. Well, next up we got the shovel. So the simple shovel is a great item because you can find buried treasure. In A Link to the Past, Link can use the shovel to help find Flute Boy's flute, and Link can also buy a shovel in Link's Awakening. And while its uses are quite limited, I do think it has the potential to be great, because items can be buried all over the map, and it's items like this that help bring a sense of wonder to the Legend of Zelda series. Now, I can imagine Zelda using a shovel to dig up items in Hyrule in Echoes of Wisdom. Well, next up we've got Magic Powder. So Magic Powder is a great item. Again, it's got multiple uses. So in Link's Awakening, Link sprinkles some on the raccoon's nose to pass through the forest, and you have to find that magic toadstool and take to the witch to turn it into magic powder. It's also used to light up lamps and turn enemies into other things. Magic Powder is another one of those classic Zelda items that brings that sense of wonder to the player. You never know what it's going to do, and I really hope they include it in Echoes of Wisdom. Well, next up we got a powerful one, and this one is the Power Bracelet. So Link is pretty weak in some Zelda games, and the Power Bracelet can be used to help him pick up large items. This can include pots, rocks, and other things. It can also be upgraded in some games. Well, we've seen Zelda moving large boulders with Bind in Echoes of Wisdom, so maybe she doesn't need a Power Bracelet. I do think it's a useful item though, because she could pick up something else, walk over to it, pick it up, put it down, throw in a different direction, that kind of thing. Bind seems a little bit restrictive with Zelda's movements, so I'd like to see a Power Bracelet in Zelda's hands. Well, next up we've got the Lens of Truth. So the Lens of Truth allows Link to see invisible walls. You can see through walls that weren't really there, and also invisible enemies in Ocarina of Time. Zelda has the ability to copy items and objects, but that's no good if you can't see them. The Lens of Truth could be a good addition to the game, especially when it comes to the puzzle-solving elements in Hyrule, and also the dungeons in the Still World. Well, next up we got the Zora Flippers, and we know that two types of Zora are in this game. We've got River Zora and Sea Zora. I think we've seen Zelda swimming in the trailers too, so that makes sense to think that we could be getting Zora Flippers again. Perhaps we get an item from both Zora, or maybe we start with one of them and then it gets upgraded with the other. If we're getting items plus we know Zelda swims, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say Zelda is going to get Zora Flippers in Echoes of Wisdom. Next up we got one of my absolute series favourites, and this is the Magic Cape. So the Magic Cape was an item in A Link to the Past, and it's used to turn Link invisible, rendering him invincible for a very short time, as well as allowing him to pass through obstacles. I really like the concept of invisibility, whether it's the Lens of Truth, allowing Link or Zelda to see invisible items, or using the Magic Cape and making yourself invisible to enemies. It's another one of those magical items, and hopefully we're going to see it in this game. Well, next up we got two of my favourite items. So first of all, the Boomerang. The Boomerang is an absolute classic, and it's made its way into many Zelda games, starting with the classic 2D adventures all the way to the most 3D adventure games with Breath of the Wild. It's a versatile item, allowing us to attack from a distance, but it can also be used to hit switches and also sometimes retrieve items from far away. It may not be new, it may not be innovative, but it's been included in most of the Zelda games for a reason, and I want to see it in Echoes of Wisdom. Well, finally, we've got my number one item that I would like to see return in Echoes of Wisdom, and can you guess what it is yet? Well, that is right, it is the Hookshot. So this is one of the most iconic items in the Zelda series, and it allows you to reach items that are far away, get over gaps, attack enemies. It can also be upgraded in some games. It's been Link's tool in many a Zelda game, but I would love to see Zelda finally get her hands on it. We've seen her use reverse bond to attach herself to items to help her move. For example, she attaches herself to a bird to fly for a short distance in the trailer. And the Hookshot is absolutely iconic. I can imagine the shouts of delights from players when they discover it in a dungeon in the Still World. Well, that is it for classic items, but in terms of new items that I'd like to see Nintendo add to the game, I'd like to see them add some spells for Princess Zelda. We've talked about sending enemies to sleep or maybe making herself invisible. Both would be good spells or abilities to have through items. Also, given we can ride horses, perhaps items to help improve the horses would be good. Perhaps a variety of saddles that have different abilities, like making the horse run faster or jump higher. It would also be interesting to see Zelda using different types of magic rods. So Tri appears to be the star of the show, but the inventory page does show a lot of key items, and perhaps there are other magic rods available in the game. So in past games we've seen fire, ice, lightning. It'd be interesting to combine Zelda's light arrows and maybe a magic rod concept, so a magic rod that shoots out beams of light. Well, finally, I want to shout out the community ideas, and I really appreciate everyone sending in their ideas. I asked you what classic items could return, or maybe what items you would like to see in the game. And first of all, we've got Giancarlo Thomas Senori, so thank you for writing in. They say, make Zelda do magic, such as elemental magic, fire, water, thunder and healing, and items that reflect her intellect and goddess power. Definitely agree with you there, Giancarlo. It's a good point. I definitely think more magic is going to be better for Princess Zelda. Definitely suits her character and her abilities. Next up, we've got 1980 Latin Lover. So thank you, Latin Lover. Appreciate your comments. I would love it if they brought back the Hookshot. That is such a handy item to have. Yep, totally agree with you. It's on the list. Actually, it's my #1 item that I would like to see come back. So definitely agree with you there. Well, next up, we've got Shane Simon 8987. So Shane says, need a boomerang or similar. Picking up rupees and stunning distant enemies is goated. Well, absolutely agree with you, Shane, there. Really appreciate your comment and thank you for writing in. Well, next up, we got FireEns6478, and sorry if I butchered your name there. And FireEns says, I'm hoping that Zelda's items, they're more magic-based to stand out from Link. I definitely agree with you. I think that is the overriding sentiment from the community as well. Everyone wants Zelda's abilities to be separate from Link, and that is why it's a little bit disappointing about the sword fighter form. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Next up, we've got Dusty Bees, and Dusty Bees says, I actually think that every time you beat a boss, you're going to get an item from Link in the sword fighter form. For example, his bow or his shield. I bet the same will happen with the Ganon form after she claims his trident. Well, thank you, Dusty Bees. Really appreciate your comment, and thank you for writing in. I definitely want to get hold of Link's bow. I can't imagine playing through a Zelda game without a bow. It'd be interesting to see Zelda getting her hands on the Hylian shield. And yeah, definitely like your idea there, so thank you very much. Next up, we got Michael Rocks, and Michael says, I'm just begging for a bow. Zelda has never had a sword, so I can forgive that, but we definitely need, and needs in capital letters, we need a bow. So I definitely would agree with you there, Michael Rocks 39. And again, appreciate you writing in. Well, let me know what you think down there in the comments. Do you want to see some classic items coming back in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom? And which ones do you want to see coming back? I would really, really love to hear from you. We are not too far away from the game now. It is only a matter of days away. And I'm very, very excited and cannot wait to get my hands on the game on the 26th of September 2024. Well, that is it today for the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget, you can hit that subscribe button down below for even more Zelda content here on Triforce Times, and you can also like the video and share the video too. That would help me out here on the channel. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you very soon. Well, this video is brought to you by Triforce Times Backstage. This is available through Patreon or YouTube membership, and you're going to get exclusive benefits, plus you'll be able to go above and beyond to support Triforce Times. Free content is core to Triforce Times, and you can continue to enjoy these videos that you know and love. However, if you want to enjoy the benefits like early access, our community Discord, shoutouts in the credits of videos, content polls and exclusive videos, then select the tier that is right for you and join Triforce Times Backstage today. So help me make Triforce Times be even bigger and better, plus you're going to get some added benefits for a small fee every month. Well, thank you for listening, and now it is time to go back to the video.